The late afternoon sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Daniel Whitmore's Beacon Hill townhouse as he frantically scrolled through his phone, trying to locate the music teacher who should have arrived 20 minutes ago. At 38, Daniel had successfully built Whitmore Tech Solutions into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. But lately, his greatest challenge wasn't mergers or market share. It was being a single father to his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie. "Dad, is Miss Anderson coming?" Sophie called from the music room, where Daniel's late wife's piano sat waiting, dusty from months of disuse since Caroline's death from cancer 2 years earlier. Sophie had inherited her mother's love of music, but Daniel's demanding schedule and the parade of inadequate nannies had made consistent lessons impossible. "She should be here any minute." "Sweetheart," Daniel called back, though his growing frustration suggested otherwise. He'd specifically hired Elena Anderson, a highly credentialed instructor from the prestigious Berklee College of Music, with references that read like a musical resume hall of fame. Her rate of $200 per hour was steep, but for his daughter, for keeping alive the one connection to her mother that still brought Sophie joy, no price was too high. The doorbell rang, and Daniel hurried to answer it, prepared to politely reprimand Miss Anderson for her lateness. Instead, he found himself face to face with a young woman who looked nothing like the polished professional he'd been expecting. She was probably in her late 20s, wearing faded jeans and a simple cardigan that had seen better days. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she carried a battered backpack instead of the professional portfolio he'd anticipated. Most startling was the 4-year-old boy clinging to her hand, looking around with wide, uncertain eyes. "Can I help you?" Daniel asked, assuming she was lost or perhaps collecting for some neighborhood cause. "Mr. Whitmore? I'm so sorry I'm late. The tea was delayed and then I got a little turned around. I'm Anna Martinez. I'm here for Sophie's piano lesson." Daniel stared at her, confusion rapidly turning to annoyance. "There must be some mistake. I hired Elena Anderson from Berklee." Anna's face fell. "Oh no, I'm so sorry. There must have been a mix-up with the agency. I'm Anna Martinez. I know it sounds similar. I was told you needed a piano teacher for your daughter starting today at 4 o'clock. And you brought your child?" Daniel couldn't keep the edge from his voice. "I'm sorry," Anna said quickly, her cheeks flushing. "My regular sitter canceled last minute, and I couldn't afford to miss this appointment. I promise Lucas will be quiet. He's very good at playing by himself." She squeezed the boy's hand protectively. Daniel was about to send her away, to call the agency and demand they send the correct teacher immediately, when Sophie appeared behind him. "Is that my teacher?" Sophie asked, peering around her father with curiosity. Her eyes landed on Lucas. "Oh, you brought a kid!" Lucas, emboldened by attention from someone his own age, gave a shy wave. Sophie grinned, the first genuine smile Daniel had seen from her in weeks. "Sophie, there's been a mix-up," Daniel started, but Anna was already crouching down to Sophie's eye level. "Hi, Sophie. I'm Miss Anna. I know I'm probably not who your dad was expecting, but I promise I'm a really good piano teacher. Would you like to play something for me so I can see what you know?" Something in Anna's warm, genuine manner made Sophie light up. "Okay, come on, Lucas, you can help me." Before Daniel could object, both children had disappeared down the hallway toward the music room, with Anna following and Daniel trailing behind, feeling like he'd somehow lost control of his own house. The next hour was a revelation. Anna sat with Sophie at the piano, and within minutes, Daniel could hear the difference in his daughter's playing. Anna didn't just instruct. She engaged, encouraged, and made the lesson feel like play rather than work. She taught Sophie a simple duet arrangement, and when Lucas started getting restless, she seamlessly incorporated him by having him keep rhythm with a tambourine she pulled from her backpack. "Your mom must have loved this piano," Anna said gently at one point, running her fingers over the instrument's polished wood. "I can tell it's been well cared for." "She died," Sophie said matter-of-factly, with the bluntness that children bring to painful truths. "She used to play it every day. Sometimes I forget what her playing sounded like." Anna didn't flinch or offer empty platitudes. Instead, she simply said, "Then we'll make sure you can keep her music alive by learning to play the pieces she loved. Would you like that?" Sophie nodded, tears glistening in her eyes, and Daniel felt his chest tighten. In 1 hour, this stranger, This wrong teacher with a child in tow had reached his daughter in ways months of expensive grief counseling hadn't managed. When the lesson ended, Daniel found himself in an unexpected dilemma. As Anna packed up her sparse materials and helped Lucas into his jacket, he realized he needed to make a decision. "Miss Martinez," he said. "About the mix-up—" "I understand," Anna interrupted, her professional smile not quite hiding her disappointment. "I'm sorry for the confusion. The agency will probably send Miss Anderson tomorrow. Actually, I was wondering if you'd be willing to come back. Same time next week?" Anna's eyes widened in surprise. "Really? But I'm not who you hired. I don't have Miss Anderson's credentials. I only have a bachelor's degree in music education, and I mostly teach at community centers and give private lessons. I'm sure she's much more qualified." "You connected with my daughter in 1 hour more than anyone has in 2 years," Daniel said quietly. "That's worth more than any credential. If you're willing, I'd like you to be Sophie's teacher." Over the following weeks, Anna became a fixture in their lives. She arrived every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, always with Lucas in tow, always with a genuine warmth that filled the house with something it had been missing since Caroline's death. She taught Sophie not just technique, but love of music. She introduced her to composers and pieces Caroline had cherished. She treated Sophie's grief with gentle respect, while helping her find joy again. Daniel found himself looking forward to lesson days for reasons that had nothing to do with his daughter's musical progress. He began working from home on Tuesdays and Thursdays, telling himself it was to monitor Sophie's lessons, but knowing it was also to watch Anna's face light up when Sophie mastered a difficult passage, to hear her laugh when Lucas accidentally created percussion instruments from household items, to see her patient kindness with both children. One afternoon, 6 weeks into lessons, Daniel came downstairs to find Anna crying quietly in the foyer while Sophie and Lucas played in the music room. "Anna, what's wrong?" he asked, concerned. She wiped her eyes quickly, embarrassed. "I'm sorry. I just got a call from my landlord. He's selling the building and we have to be out in 30 days. I've been looking for places I can afford, but everything in the city is so expensive. And I can't move too far because I need to be on the T-line for work, and Lucas's daycare is here." And her voice broke. Daniel understood struggling with impossible logistics. Though his struggles these days were more about time than money, but he remembered what it was like before his company took off, when every dollar counted and one setback could cascade into disaster. "How much do you need for first and last month's rent?" he asked. "Mr. Whitmore, I can't—" "You're not asking. I'm offering. Consider it an advance on future lessons. That could be thousands of dollars. Anna, you've given my daughter something priceless. You've helped her reconnect with her mother's memory through music. You've made her smile again." "Let me help you," but Anna shook her head firmly. "I appreciate it truly, but I can't accept charity. I've worked hard to support Lucas on my own, and I need to be able to do this myself." Her pride was unmistakable, and Daniel respected it even as it frustrated him. Over the next week, he found himself thinking about Anna's situation constantly. She was an exceptional teacher working multiple jobs to support her son. She deserved better opportunities, not just financial bailouts. That's when Daniel remembered the music education program at the community center his company had been funding. The current director was retiring, and they'd been searching for a replacement. Someone who could run the program, teach classes, and help expand music education to underserved communities. Someone exactly like Anna Martinez. At their next lesson, Daniel made his proposal. "I have a job opportunity I'd like to discuss with you. The Whitmore Foundation funds a music education program at the Riverside Community Center. We're looking for a new director. It would be a full-time position with benefits, a salary of $75,000 to start, and it includes working with kids from all backgrounds to bring music education to communities that can't normally afford it." Anna stared at him. "Mr. Whitmore, Before you say anything, this isn't charity, and it's not because you're Sophie's teacher. We've been searching for someone for 3 months. You have the credentials, the experience, and more importantly, the heart for this work. I've seen how you teach, how you connect with students. You're exactly what this program needs. But Lucas, The center has an on-site daycare program for staff children. It's fully subsidized as part of employee benefits. Anna's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. Say you'll at least interview for it. Meet with the board, tour the facility, see if it's something you want. No pressure, no expectations, just an opportunity. 3 weeks later, Anna Martinez became the director of the Whitmore Foundation Music Education Program. She moved into a modest but comfortable apartment near the center, with Lucas enrolled in the daycare where he thrived. She continued teaching Sophie privately, but now it was a choice rather than economic necessity. As months passed, Daniel found his carefully constructed walls beginning to crumble. His interactions with Anna had evolved from professional to friendly to something deeper that neither of them had been looking for, but both had desperately needed. She understood what it meant to be a single parent, to carry the weight of responsibility alone, to worry constantly about whether you were enough for your child. One evening, after a particularly beautiful recital where Sophie performed one of Caroline's favorite pieces flawlessly, Daniel and Anna stood together watching their children play. You know, Anna said quietly, when I showed up at your door that first day, I was terrified you'd send me away immediately. I knew I wasn't who you'd hired, and I was so desperate for the work that I'd convince myself maybe you wouldn't notice the mix-up. I almost did send you away, Daniel admitted. I wanted the polished professional, the prestigious credentials. I thought that's what Sophie needed. What changed your mind? Sophie smiled. I hadn't seen her genuinely happy since Caroline died. And then I watched you teach her, and I realized that sometimes what we need isn't what we think we're looking for. Anna turned to face him, and Daniel was struck again by how beautiful she was, not in a polished, sophisticated way, but in a way that came from genuine warmth and inner strength. Daniel, she said softly, using his first name for the first time, I need to tell you something. I've been falling in love with you, and it terrifies me. I'm your employee, my son's daycare is through your foundation, Sophie is my student. There are so many reasons this could be complicated. There are, Daniel agreed. But there's one reason that matters more than all of those complications combined. I'm falling in love with you too. You and Lucas have brought life back into this house. You've helped Sophie heal in ways I couldn't. You've reminded me that it's possible to build a family even after you've lost one. 6 months later, Daniel and Anna stood together at Sophie's first public piano recital as director of the community music program. Sophie played beautifully, her confidence and skill a testament to Anna's patient teaching. Lucas sat in the front row with Daniel's mother, both of them beaming with pride. After the performance, as families mingled and celebrated, Sophie pulled both Daniel and Anna aside. Miss Anna, she said seriously, I have a question. What is it, sweetheart? Anna asked. If you and Dad get married, can Lucas be my real brother? Because I've been telling everyone at school he already is. But Melissa Richards says that's not how it works. Daniel and Anna exchanged glances, both trying not to laugh at Sophie's 8-year-old logic. Sophie, Daniel said gently, Miss Anna and I are still figuring things out, but you love each other, right? I see how you look at each other. And Lucas already calls you Danny even though you told him to call you Mr. Whitmore. And we're already like a family. We just don't live together yet. Out of the mouths of children, Daniel thought came uncomfortable truths. He looked at Anna, seeing his own feelings reflected in her eyes. Love, hope, and the tentative belief that maybe they could build something beautiful from the unexpected gift of a scheduling mix-up. You're right, Anna said softly, taking Sophie's hand. We are like a family, and whether or not grown-up paperwork says Lucas is your brother, he already loves you like a sister. 2 years later, Daniel and Anna were married in a small ceremony attended by close friends, family, and an enthusiastic group of kids from the community music program. Sophie played piano while Lucas, now 6 and taking violin lessons from his mother, accompanied her on his small violin. It wasn't perfect or polished, but it was filled with love and joy and the promise of a future built on unexpected foundations. The mix-up that had brought Anna to Daniel's door became family legend, a story they told at dinner parties and holiday gatherings. What if you had sent me away that first day? Anna would ask. Then I would have spent years with the right teacher and missed out on the right person, Daniel always replied. Sometimes the best things in life come from mistakes, from wrong turns that lead to right destinations, from scheduling errors that introduce us to exactly the person we needed to meet. Daniel had hired the wrong teacher, but he'd found the right partner, the right mother for his daughter, the right person to help him understand that family isn't about perfection or credentials. It's about showing up, even when you're afraid, even when you're not sure you belong, and finding that you fit together in ways no resume could ever predict. The Whitmore Foundation Music Education Program flourished under Anna's direction, bringing music to thousands of children who might never have had access to formal lessons. Sophie continued her musical education, eventually earning a scholarship to study music therapy, inspired by how music had helped her process grief. And Lucas grew up in a home filled with laughter, love, and the understanding that family is built not just through blood or paperwork, but through daily choices to show up for each other, to support each other's dreams, and to create harmony from unexpected combinations, all because one day, the wrong teacher showed up at the right door, and two single parents discovered that sometimes the best plans are the ones that fall apart to make room for something better.